Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nicholas Malson speaking, and welcome back to yet another episode of my podcast, where you and I will hopefully smile once again. Today is the 2nd of April 2022. Before doing anything, I would like to wish you all a happy belated Mother's Day. To all the mothers in the world, we sincerely love you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for dedicating all of your life just to make our lives better. And thank you so much for being part of our lives, no matter what. As a gift for the belated Mother's Day, I've got a very special episode ready for you today. But before that, I would like to give you a quick heads up about my YouTube channel. It's called Smile Once Again Podcast. If you want to have a bit more open communication with me, you can leave a comment on any of the video and I will reflect on it in the latest episode. If you want a bit more direct communication with me, without your comments to be read out in public, please send me an email, which is smileonceagainpodcast@gmail.com. That's smileonceagainpodcast@gmail.com. And whichever way you want to use to communicate with me, I'll be more than happy to talk to you. To those who have not listened to this podcast before, we are simply trying to focus on optimistic things or trying to find good things in bad ones. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not, but in any case, let's see what happens. But overall, this is the corner of positive vibes and just trying to find ways and reasons to smile once again. Hence the name of the podcast. Now, as a belated gift to Mother's Day, and as just a special episode, it's not 25th episode, but 24th, but I don't think that it could have waited any longer, because right next to me sits the one and only, the best friend, Michael. Good to see you.
It's amazing to see you, brother. Yeah, and I cannot really believe my own, how to say, as you mentioned, eyes or whatever. Not that I really, after so many years, it was like last time that we met, it was around 2017.
Yeah, 2017, the latest, definitely.
2018 maybe.
Yeah, but
something like this.
2018 unlikely, but I'm pretty sure 2017 was the latest. But in any case, it has been at least 4 years since we haven't actually met. Yeah, exactly. Like we did definitely catch up like almost on a weekly basis while talking to each other on Discord and stuff, but physical kind of interaction, physical conversation doesn't like compare to like virtual conversations and stuff. Just natural conversations, just having a person right next to you. So yeah, it's really a pleasure seeing you. And obviously we have talked to each other and like hung out with each other before recording this episode. So let's just perhaps like go to some basics and just I want to ask, how was your journey?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's been a lot of things, and I have arrived yesterday as we spoke. So it is my third time that I'm in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it was more like in a rush way, so that I have had my flight to London Stansted Airport from my hometown of Riga.
Yeah,
from our hometown. So the flight was well and everything was well, but I was really surprised, was caught off guard, I can say, with the border patrol. Just because it's like a lot of queues and whatever not, and then the hour I arrived was pretty rushy, so a lot of queues that have actually messed up my schedule. Missed the bus and missed the train to Southampton, where we are right now. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was all good. I just got to experience this, how to say, last minute replanning.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah,
so was caught off guard, but then made way out with more like on time, on point solutions for the problem. So it's all good. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm really glad to be here. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah. No, well, I'm really glad you made it. And actually, as a matter of fact, the original plan wasn't as different as the remade plan.
Yeah.
Like you were only maybe like you only came in maybe about half an hour later
True.
than expected. I mean, obviously, like you had to like rearrange stuff, and sadly, had to like spend a bit of extra money and all that stuff, which is really very unfortunate. But hopefully, didn't hit you too hard, hasn't it?
No, it didn't. I don't think it can be a crisis point, so that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just Stansted Airport is just one of those places which you have to be very careful with. Because like it's not really the best airport, but at least it still works, and just like need to be careful with what you're planning and stuff. Well, I think with this in mind, like, were there any lessons that you have learned from this experience?
Yeah. I think you have to when you're planning something. I was always taught by my mother like to take extra time with you, so not make the transfers more very how do you say narrowly queued between each other. So like take at least like half an hour or more for a transfer from one mean to another.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I was so used to infrastructure working so well. Maybe not in Latvia, but in other countries, for instance, Warsaw or the Poland, I mean, or other countries that I visited recently, so that I was really used to everything being so rapid. Thus, I have counted on my better luck and reserved the transfer point for like 10 minutes after my flight arrived. Obviously I didn't make it, neither I unfortunately did make the next bus that would still make me on time, but I mean anyhow this is still good. And but other than that, I think what I have really learned is that you still have to like be aware, and if you need to rush, just maybe be more confident to make a couple of moves. So just speak more to people, explain your situation, which I didn't really do. But I mean, if I could spoke in the airport that I'm in a hurry, then maybe it would be turned out a little bit different. But anyhow, I mean, the best lesson possible is that I like just realized that no matter what, if you reach your final goal, and if you make it like in one piece, then you shouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, and again, you came in here in one piece,
That's
no
true.
injuries or anything like
That's
that, so it's all
great,
good. Although, just return to your point about talking to like people and such, that does make sense. Although I wouldn't think that they will actually care much
No,
about the
that's
fact
true.
that that you are late, like you're in a hurry and such.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, with the airport as well as central like train stations and stuff like that, most of people are in the same position.
that's true.
So like pretty much lots of people are noisy, busy, like rushed, and everything is moving very rapidly
That's true.
and stuff like that. But it's sometimes very difficult to have things so streamlined, especially when there's like millions of people just traveling in the same location. Like everything is so chaotic and such. I'm pretty sure the airport does feel this kind of stress on a daily basis and such. Maybe not Stansted, because like Stansted is not considered as like the busiest airport, but maybe Heathrow or like Gatwick even. As a personal experience, actually, was happening recently when I traveled to Switzerland.
Okay.
When I got to Heathrow, it was about maybe like 1:30 at night or 2 o'clock ish, and I thought it would be a smooth transition because there's not so many people. I could just go through border control and just everything would be fine. But the security were just not there. Like the border control was closed, and we're thinking, well, what was the point of me to arriving that early? And as a result, we've just all been standing in the queue, waiting until someone would just come in there. and just, get us all, like, processed and such.
Yeah,
It just makes no sense. I thought this was like a 24/7 airport or something.
that's true.
It's Heathrow, for God's sake. It's like it's the busiest airport in London, I think.
It's one of the busiest airports in on the whole continent, I would say. So
Yeah, well,
it's,
if not even the world. Well, maybe not the world. That'll probably be it.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt if it's one of the busiest in the world, because it's London is like a major transportation hub anyhow.
Yeah. So pretty much what we can say is just, if you think that, there's not a big gap between the journeys, just basically get a bigger gap,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
true.
So at least, you are certain that everything is fine. Or the other thing that, my mom has advised as well is probably just don't buy the tickets in advance.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's like a coach ticket and such, or a train ticket even. Just buy the ticket as soon as you arrive to the station.
That's
I think that's the best. That's the best thing to do. Although maybe you may be able to buy tickets for a much lesser price, but it comes with the cost if you think about it. Like, well, in your case, for example, you may have got a ticket which was much cheaper, but it kind of you sacrificed the time, and hence the time didn't go right. So
Yeah.
maybe at this point, thing is that the money does return to you at some point,
That's true.
but the time does not. So time always goes forward, doesn't
That's
it?
true.
Yeah. But fair enough, man. But yeah, and as you've said, and I'll repeat your point, I'm really glad you made it, no matter the circumstances and
That's
such.
true.
And the weather has been quite welcoming so far. Maybe it was a little bit nippy, but it was really sunny. Although there was one moment when we were hanging out, we were going around the city, and Michael has revealed the secret. We're actually based in Southampton. So now you know, everyone. So if you do want to pay a visit to Southampton, feel free to do so. Yeah, there was this moment where it was snowy for literally just a few seconds, but I wouldn't really call it snow.
No,
Like
it's
compared,
not snow.
yeah, compared to like the country we came from, our winters are much better, and the snow could go much. It will have much more snow, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we have traveled around Southampton today, and we just recently came back. We had quite a lot of things to do, but overall, what do you think about the city?
I mean, it's quite pretty. It's neat, and it's I think does serve the purpose well. So it has a good transportation system. Maybe not nothing that spectacular about it. Just the public buses, but all of them come on time. They are clean, not overcrowded. So everyone can take place for sitting or just standing around. And yeah, and I really enjoyed the fact that you can walk around the city on foot, and still get to see a lot of things, and they are not so distant from each other. So, for instance, we've seen a waterfront, and then the cool living neighborhoods near the waterfront, and then it was only like a 10-15 minute walk to the center, so it was amazing actually.
Yeah, I do agree. Like the city may look both busy, but it's like also condensed, which is quite handy. Although it depends on where you live, really, because like my neighborhood is like it's pretty much close to the city center. So to me, pretty much everything is quite close, or at least requires just a little bit of walking, which I don't mind. If you would live on the outskirts of the city, that would probably be a bit different. But again, like even in the outskirts, like as long as you perhaps live near the like a supermarket or something, the rest would most likely be quite comfortable for you.
Yeah.
So I know there are some suburbs which have perhaps the best supermarkets of the city, and they could basically get everything they need from there. But if they want something else, they can always travel to the city center without any difficulties. The routes are pretty straightforward. The bus commute is pretty easy, or if they can drive, that's even better. Like it won't take too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I liked it a lot, and the point that there is a lot of there are a lot of places where you can just hang out on the waterfront, and some neat cafes that if you wish you can visit at all points. So, and the weather really, we were really lucky with the weather today, for it being sunny in England, and especially near the seacoast. It is a good a good thing, good weather type. Yeah.
Yeah, the English weather is like a gamble. Like in 1 hour, you could see the sunshine, the rain, and the snow in the middle of April. It is possible. Like I remember something similar happened in the 2016. Actually,
Yeah, okay.
I saw it personally. It was really really interesting to say the least, I guess. But I'm glad that the weather was on our side this weekend. Last week, though, yeah, as I've already mentioned to you a while back, it was really a very pleasant weather. Like sunny, very warm, like so warm we could just walk with t-shirts on. And it was an absolutely fantastic experience. I think later this month it will actually become better, so we'll see how it goes. And also, just before we continue, my sincerest apologies if I do sound a little bit different. Mainly two reasons. Firstly, because I am sitting slightly further from the microphone, and secondly, I unfortunately have caught a bit of cold, so I have a bit of a runny nose. And actually, funny story. So when me and my special one we went on a date this past Thursday, we were sitting in a pub, and there was this one random person who was talking to us. And he was actually a really nice and friendly person. Lots of really funny jokes and all that. Just basically having a really nice, chill pub kind of environment. And I think because of my runny nose, he thought I was French.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, now I'm just kind of being a bit conscious about it, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I do sound a little bit of French right now, but I'm not entirely sure if this is still the case. I mean, when my runny nose goes off, like when it basically goes back to normal, maybe I'll start sounding more like myself again, but we'll see how it goes. If anyone thinks I'm French, do let me know. But I'm not French. Just giving you a heads up. But actually, this situation in the pub actually returns to me, gives me this idea, or gives me this food for thought. Perhaps something that you wanted to address as well.
Okay.
Especially like in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of difficulties with actually socializing with people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I mean, of course, we could, virtually talk to each other and stuff, but like this sensation of actually physically being with someone,
the presence of another
the
person.
presence and like the social vibes and all that stuff.
That's
It was pretty difficult. How are you coping with that?
Yeah, so it always was for as you said correctly. So like last 2 years, when pretty much everybody being more isolated from each other, just spending time at home, and work was the main source of socializing because of all the difficulties and all the limitations that took place in the public spaces. So. Yeah, we had it more content and more like individual lifestyle. But lately it's been better because early this year, like actually late last year, but early this year, it actually started happening. I signed up for a social club.
Okay.
In Riga, which is pretty much a place where youth from I think around age 25, 20 to 25. Some were younger, but depends on a person. Yeah. So for young people, I was still 25 at that point. I'm 26 now, but it doesn't really make any difference. The thing is that there are like it's a very simple thing, but at the same time it's good. They just organize events where you can appoint to play some board games and hang out, meet new people, speak about something interesting. For instance, if you have like books you could recommend, or they actually also from time to time they publish the specific book name that they want to discuss. So They just offer you, if you want to read the book and then sign up, you can come like another day and you will have a company of people sitting there that you can share your thoughts about something. Same will, I think, go out with poetry. They had a meeting this Thursday. I was unfortunately busy with my job that I couldn't appoint this, but it went well, I believe. But the thing is, the best thing is that via this social club, I met some new people. I would say they're like well acquaintances, and we are maybe some we can call it friends at this point because we have met several times and had some good time with each other. So we are now like hanging out, attending other social events like concerts. We are attending some like also pool games, like for instance people went to play pool just on a weekly night, and we are also just trying just hanging out, getting to know each other, and from time to time there are new people coming alongside. So
Yeah, so it's like it gives you a bit of like freedom, and you can, I think, with these social clubs, one thing that I like about these kind of like events or gatherings and stuff is that you are gathering with the people that want the same thing as you do. So it's not going to be like, uncomfortable, like, or awkward saying like, oh, I want to hang out with you guys, and they kind of like pretend to care, or just, just being polite and such. And then you try hang out with them next time and they just kind of like, no. Or just like trying to ghost you and stuff. But like with social club, it's like, you find people, okay, you want to hang out with them, they want to hang out with you too. So there's kind of like already there's a connection because like you have the same purpose.
that's true.
As an example, what I was thinking of doing before meeting my special one is going on speed dating.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and thing is that I actually ended up not needing to go there because I have met my special one before the event happened, but apparently that event has actually been cancelled because not so many people have actually turned up. Well, at least to what they said.
Okay.
Like, so one side said that this social event has cancelled because there are not many women who have come in, and obviously the ratio is very kind of difficult to work with. But the official reason is because of COVID safety and regulations, which we at first thought that it was not true because at that time the regulations were softening. And it was pretty much starting to get a bit easier to like go through and such. But it's just the reason that they wanted to announce. It is up to them. It's basically best for business because if they say, "Oh, we've canceled it because not so many people have turned up," that can actually
it's not a good marketing move.
Yeah, so they just kind of like had to make a like not an excuse, but like just basically provide another reason, which may have actually been true. Who knows? But how did you actually manage to find that social club?
Yeah, so I was thinking about such thing in my mind for a while. I spoke to my mom about this, and we were discussing. She said, "Well, if you cannot find something like this, just organize one. Just be the one to organize this." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I might actually, if I don't find something like this, I might try at least to call up some people. But I don't know why I'm just shy in these types of things. So I just keep it more low key until I actually get a very deliberated idea that I need to make something."
Yeah.
But I didn't need to organize something just because one day the Instagram ad popped up to me, and it just advertised this new founded social club where people could sign up, and then eventually I signed up for it like almost instantly, maybe just a day after I saw this ad. But they only let us know about the happenings only like maybe a month later than we signed up. So it was a whole month that we haven't heard any information as a new members. So
Right.
We had it's just very new founded, so it originated in like January, I think. So
Yeah, so it's a pretty fresh kind of
yeah, it's like extremely fresh. So it's like now I think it runs only like 70 total members, from which most of the people only are hanging out in the chat way, and some of them are like most part is attending this larger meetings where you see when you have board games and socializing events, but these more specialized events like book club and whatever not, much less people come there just because of well, at one point COVID regulations, at another point yeah, just maybe not everybody is really interested. So
Yeah, well,
yeah,
and also nowadays it's like not so many people are reading books anymore,
yeah.
and which is kind of like really sad thing to think about because books they still have like this like feeling of sincerity and passion in pages and such, especially if the book is really really good. And books they do share knowledge better than other like materials in my opinion. Like obviously you can have like an electronic book or like audio book as well, but like there's just feeling of the book itself. Like I don't think it's comparable to like other ways of kind of like consuming like stories and such. I think.
That's true. Classic books are more soulful, you can say. It's a good word, in my opinion, to describe a paper book. So something that not only has a story or text inside it, but is actually like a type of soul in it of its own, which is like, yeah. I mean, it's a metaphor, but still,
Yeah, no, of course.
It's a completely understandable thing. The other thing is that electronic books are different from each other, and I kind of like the ones that are styled like a classic book. So the one that don't have the brightest screen, but the paper-like screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So these readers are quite nice. The only thing there is that you still like have to touch the screen and then bend it up and down. But you get the simulation of the paper form, but it's not paper form. So it's just it's you don't you imagine that you're reading the real book. You like feel as if it was, but then you don't get this feeling of the paper and the cover. So it's like a little bit in a tactile way. It's not that much, how to say, soulful anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's still good. It's much more convenient because I have not only I have some paper books that I didn't read by this point, but I also have a lot of PDF files sitting around on my old laptop and on my new laptop as well, just because I've saved them up and with the thought that I would read them someday.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really got time, will, or chance to read much of them, but I will definitely catch up at some point. So
Yeah.
I actually want to purchase myself an e-reader for this.
Okay.
But yeah, a good point is that people are people seem to. I'm not sure what is the real point, but many people seem to lack interest in this more classic stuff, like book reading or poetry or whatever. Not it's maybe it's more about the consumption culture. Has changed a lot, so we are more likely and more keen to watch a series or a movie or some YouTube videos, as I do a lot.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. Rather than read an article or read something like this. So,
Yeah.
which is actually like now a habit of efficiency and consistency that you need to organize for yourself. So
Yeah, because like I think especially the current generation, like I don't want to sound like an old man. It's like, oh, this generation, oh no, it's just the idea that like ourselves as well, we were born in the time of technology boom, and like lots of stuff has been changing constantly, and obviously it was very difficult for us to cope with it because like well, what is happening, like we're just about getting used to something and all of a sudden it just changes, and like the changes were very very constant. Maybe like previous generations have experienced the same, but I think in our case the progression was so rapid that it has definitely broken the kind of like the standards of such thing as change. And I think because of that, we've just maybe kind of adapted to consuming information much faster pace, but it all came with sacrifice. Like we don't have an opportunity to consume information at a slower pace, like for example reading a book and stuff, and actually enjoying it. We rather just process this information as quickly as possible, trying to basically keep it in mind, especially depending on how relevant this information is to you or your work and such. And I think this is just something that we need to keep an eye on, because I think we just, as a society, we kind of forgot to perhaps just like slow down and take a break, because these kinds of moments, they do just help your mind, just kind of like settle down, relax. Like I haven't been slowed down for quite a while now, maybe like for 2 or 3 months now. Life has been going like at a much faster pace this year. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I would, as we spoke a little bit earlier before the podcast, the time is really rushing lately.
Yeah.
Not only maybe because of the technology, but it's the amount of information that we have to process, and especially work-wise, as for people of our work style who have a lot of screen time and a lot of data at work, so a lot of different meanings, numbers, information, and whatever not, then you really like get it all in your head and you try to process it, and then it speeds up the process of your thinking, and you just get disoriented sometimes when you get off a screen and take the same as we spoke, the paper book in hands, and try to actually sit still and try to concentrate on the simple stuff.
Yeah.
I am, as I told in some previous episode, maybe I didn't finish the thought, I don't remember, but I just re-listened our older episodes sometimes, and I saw that I was rushing, trying to explain more things, so I'm also now, as we are speaking, trying to process and reproduce the information slower to keep my thoughts more content and more, detailed, maybe speak less about different topics, but rather elaborate in details on some topics. So the thing is that what I was trying to say is that I'm trying to keep my habit of having a daily organizer. So
Right.
it's like a bullet planner that I run.
Yeah.
And this has been well. But the problem is that in my own mind, I always need to keep it very, very consistent. The thing with it is that I feel that I kind of have a need for that. At the same point, I feel that I am sometimes too lazy, and due to this point, I just compromise the need of it. So I think, okay, I have my day scheduled in my head. I know what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do anything else? Not anything else, but do not a complimentary, but an additional move to set up my day if I have it planned in my head.
Right.
Which has proved me wrong so many times. Yet I'm still sometimes not too consistent with it, but I'm getting better with every week. Just having, and for me it is a very simple style planning of the day. So what I do is I try to write out the most significant tasks that I have during my day. For instance, having a morning workout, having a waking up at a specific time,
Mm-hmm.
going to sleep on a specific time, having a practice Duolingo for not sponsored by them, but
Yeah. Just a personal shout out and a recommendation.
for doing Duolingo course and such and such, maybe reading a chapter of a book or whatever not. So I just write it down in the beginning of the day or in the at the end of the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day not only I keep all these things in my mind better, so I remember that I wrote it down, so I put it down, and this is somehow getting more value in my head then.
Yeah.
But actually, at the end of the day, I am also like going through it as a checklist
Yeah.
and trying to not like compare of how many things I have planned and how many things I have accomplished. So, and then if I have some more spare time of the day, then I can do some other things as well. So
I see. Okay. Okay, that I understand what you're saying here, and yeah, it does look like, or rather sound like that there's a progress with your plan here, and I'm happy about it because
that's
yeah,
true.
you try, like you're trying something new here, and it feels like things are improving, so that's really good news. Um, I personally, have tried the to-do list and bucket list and all that stuff. They only work for me in case if I'm really passionate about specific projects and stuff. Like maybe I have mentioned a while back the list of bands that I'm listening and such. So I so I don't keep guessing like, oh, what do I want to listen to, and just to kind of like make things a bit spicier, I guess I just roll the dice and decide which band I'm going to listen to next. So that way, at least I have got something to listen to, whilst I'm not going to like typical A to Z list and such. So like there's always a bit of randomization and excitement going in. But returning to like your way of like organizing things and planning the tasks for the day and stuff like that. Um, Considering that like our sensation of time has changed, the fact that we think that it just goes much faster now. How much has it impacted your like time management and like task making and stuff like that? Like how much is it like how much different does it feel to you?
Yeah, so it did affect my day because I could actually see the tasks that I take from my mind that I see as more valuable. So I actually note down, as I mentioned before, I note down maybe I didn't mention it actually, but I try to note down the most important things.
Right.
So the things that are closely linked to my interests or to the things I see valuable. For instance, I try to get up to set up my waking up schedule,
Mm-hmm.
and for that I need to have myself waking up every day, or at least every working day at 6:30 in the morning, to have enough time to go for a short run or exercise, and have my shower routine and whatnot routine in the morning, for and then make it on time for my job. And this specifically is my schedule if I stay to work from home. If I'm looking to go work from the office, then I need actually to get even earlier. So would say it could be half an hour earlier for me to go for a short run or have some exercises like push-ups and then sit-ups, something like this. Nothing too complicated. And this is the morning routine. Then during the day, I don't don't overclock myself with many specific things, just because day is mostly dedicated to my work. But then after my work, I don't. Again, I used to try to schedule specific times for starting things, which like say I work from office, then I commute home, which takes like an hour or something, just because I walk on foot. Then say I arrive home, take have my dinner, and at 8 in the evening I'm ready to do something else if I'm not very tired.
Mm.
Uh, but then again, sometimes if I don't have a schedule, I feel like I'm too tired to do something. But then with the schedule, I can still run some things.
Okay.
Say lately I'm been more into reading, and specifically I try to read Bible, because Yeah, I consider myself a spiritual person, definitely in the terms of faith in God. Maybe not so much in the religion, but which is like, it's also not, how do you say, it's not. I wouldn't say that I'm like non-religious person, because I usually followed like the main principles of religion. Now I'm getting more, more as a conscious participation of religion in my life. For instance, I would say I am more like now at this point of time. For instance. I would say out of also like religious deliberation, but also just because I wanted to try it. I'm on a Christian Orthodox fast, which started at from 7th of March and will continue until the 25th of April, I believe.
So it's like almost 2 months then.
1.5, I would say. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, 1.5 months. Which for Christian Orthodox, in comparison to Muslims in Ramadan, which has also started from today.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So happy Ramadan! Maybe congratulations with the holy month of Ramadan to all the Muslims.
Although no, actually, a colleague of mine advised it actually started on Friday though. I thought it was
Yesterday,
on Friday.
was it?
Yeah, I think it was on Friday.
Maybe Friday midnight, because the principle of Ramadan says that a believing Muslim should not be, in terms of religion, of course. And I'm not. If I'm wrong, I'm pardon me, because I haven't read Quran myself, or I haven't read other writings of.
Yeah, if any of you are more experienced in Muslim as a religion, or sorry, in Islam as a religion, sorry, or if you have more knowledge of Ramadan, please do let us know, and then we can correct ourselves.
That's true.
In the follow-up episodes, but yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, the key point for during the month of Ramadan for a Muslim person is that you should avoid eating after the sunrise and before the sunset.
Right.
So, which means that if the people have started fasting yesterday, means that they have had their dinner in the evening, obviously according to a normal schedule, but then their breakfast should have been done by I don't know what time the sun rises in the UK, but in terms of at least in Latvia, it rises at 6 o'clock, I think. No, earlier, maybe at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I think it will be the same here. I'll say it's somewhere around that time.
So around that time, people need to have their breakfast before the sun rises. There are also like times, more specific times made on the internet, because it's also a centralized process, a religious process. Then they have the specific time comparison.
Okay.
With the origin of Muslim religion, which is in Saudi Arabia, in the city called Mecca.
Mecca, yeah.
So, this is a whole month that people who are strong believers, who are strongly religious, I would say, and they will be holding on to the rule of not eating or drinking water during the day, and carrying on until the evening. Then in the evening they will have more opportunities to have lunch and dinner and some food and some water. And the most interesting and the most wholesome, the most beautiful thing about the month of Ramadan, I learned from Muslim people that I lived with, that I shared my house with. Not my house, but I rented a room when I was in Denmark.
Yeah.
I rented a room where several people, in the house where different people were living, and my neighbors turned out to be people from Pakistan. And they were also religious and following the month of Ramadan. So the most beautiful things I learned from them is that during Ramadan, especially as a Muslim person at all, you need to be like more kind, open, looking to help, looking to contribute to the world. But especially in the month of Ramadan, you are you should be, and you are looking to be more generous, more forgiving, more how they say, more open to the world and more kind. Because the purpose of this holy month is to clean the soul and clean your mind from the unworthy, bad, and whatever not like how to say, harmful thoughts. So to cleanse you as a person, to be more renewed, rejuvenated in your soul, and yeah, also via this fasting thing, because it makes you more concentrated, makes you more deliberate, and makes you more strong to and willing to follow the specific way of growing as a personality by limiting yourself to some things.
Okay. We're kind of derailed from
Yeah.
consistency into religion, which actually, is quite an important thing to discuss, especially like in this particular time of the year, because we have lots of religious holidays happening.
That's true.
Obviously Easter, both Catholic and Orthodox. Also the holy month of Ramadan, and I do also share my congratulations on the hopefully successful beginning of this holy month. And I do hope that it will go well for everyone who participates. And obviously, you are participating in fasting. But could you just talk more about your religion's fasting? Well, I mean mine as well. But yeah, like what does Christian Orthodox fasting look like?
Yeah. So the idea of the fasting is still the same. You have to cleanse your mind, soul, and body from the unwanted processes or unwanted cache. So you say wipe your cache partition to as a person to actually open yourself more to better changes in life. Actually, the thing I learned recently is that there is not one fasting period in Orthodox Christianity, but several, around 4 or 5 during the year.
Okay.
And this, which is called the Great Fast, because it's I think maybe it's not maybe it's the longest, maybe it's the more known, more common. But there are much more strict fasting periods, like the one before Christmas.
Right.
For Orthodox Christians, I have not my personally neither heard nor experienced it myself, but yeah, I decided to participate in this great fast just because I was looking at it for several years, and this year I finally decided that I should go. The thing with it is that the key point in terms of food, you should be avoiding eating something that has lost its life or has experienced pain.
Right.
To produce, to have this resource of it, have given up this resource of it for your consumption. So obviously, first and foremost, it's a strict prohibition of animal meat.
Right.
And some these proteins of animal origin. So, for instance, if you are looking to eat some jellies, you should also opt for gelatin free. In the perfect conditions, if you can find some. But then it's much more than that, and it's much more structured than that. Don't let me make it seem like it's a very just so avoid eating meat and you'll be sorted. No, it's much more. It's more complex than that. So there is actually some schedule that one could or should follow to be properly fasting. And there are 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even more weeks during the fast that you should start only with raw foods and raw, obviously meatless and dairyless foods. So some nuts, seeds, vegetables, preferably during the first week. Then you should not even be cooking them, but rather eat them as they come. Which is it still is real in our world, but it's much less possible to not cook anything because we get all our foods from supermarkets and stores where we are not too sure of its quality and the how to say the materials that they were maybe sprayed, if you say in a simple language, sprayed with before they came to your home. So what we usually do is still cook some food. We just avoid adding any dairy, meat, and also butter, which is a dairy product as well. And we also try to cut down on oil. We cut down on carbs. Maybe not so much, but still you need to have energy, so you still eat carbs, but you keep track of the portion size that you consume food. And we try to eat more fresh fruits. We try to keep it simple, but then again find out some cooler recipes to cook without adding any oil, much oil or butter. Just like that.
How much positive impact does this fasting process bring you?
Well, at this point, I would definitely say that I feel much less congested comparing to the times I eat meat, especially if I eat meat more, especially if I don't control myself in meat eating. For instance, if I used to snack with on hams, or whatever, not like eating more, patties or whatever, not during the week that I should, then I feel like more congested in terms of my digestion system and maybe blood processes. I feel more tired because my body actually takes more energy to how they say, process the food. Than I feel now during when I eat mostly vegetables and in the forms of stews and with some rice or buckwheat. But then again, I would say it brings you consciousness, actually, of the things you do consume and how you consume them, right? Because you take another look or two even to figure out if you can eat it or not. Then you calculate your own calories. Even it doesn't matter if you do it in your head, if you know the approximate or specific number of calories, or you use a calorie tracker like I do. A quick shout out to MyFitnessPal, an awesome free app.
Okay.
We are not sponsored by it either.
Just personal shout out
Just
again,
a very close personal shout out. It has been a great help, not only now, but during last year, I think. I've been using it for a while now, and it has brought very significant contribution, positive contribution to my eating habit, just because I now am more conscious of how many calories and what type of calories I consume. But during the fast, you actually naturally process the information in your head that, okay, you should most probably eat less now and have some food later, which will be more simple, which will be easier, lighter, not easier to cook, maybe lighter. And then you also don't consume dairy, which can make your stomach bad or can do... maybe some other people, different people have different experience with dairy, but for some people it causes some issues. Maybe I'm one of the person that is lactose intolerant, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not strongly, but I cannot drink milk, so yeah.
Well, the thing is that actually, not recently, but like at some point I found out that pretty much we all are actually lactose intolerant.
Okay.
But it just depends on, who is more lactose intolerant and who can still manage it, but still may face some side effects and such.
Yeah.
So so it's something wrong, something about dairy that just kind of makes us feel a bit odd, to say the least. But returning to the original topic, does religion in some case or in some aspect help you carrying on with the consistency?
I would say so, yeah. We started all this great discussion with myself having a so-called point in my schedule which says reading Bible.
Yes.
So in the perfect case, I don't ask much from myself. I just ask for a chapter a day.
Yeah.
And the chapter usually takes like 1 page, maybe 1.5 pages. So I do it right before I go to sleep, or maybe just sometime before I prepare to go to sleep, and underline some interesting things that I found interesting or that I find valuable lessons. And just like that, I kind of always try to remind myself that this is important for me to educate myself on religion, religious purpose, religious matter, and that I should actually do it more consistently. Other than that, I would say I actually also am a person that prays, not only in church but on my personal, in person. So I either do it very quietly in my mind or like just on my own. Yeah, but when I'm just at home, I can also sit down calmly. So it's like a form of meditation that helps me speak through my mind and acknowledge the things that are doing better or doing worse in my life. So I'm just recycling the information, and this also helps process it better.
Well, as a man of faith,
Yeah.
Will there be anything that you would like to pray for our listeners for?
It should be still personal for every person to pray or to actually to select the specific topics what they are willing to pray for. But I would definitely pray for everyone's for every family's health and prosperity, and for peace, definitely, which is a matter in our current world situation.
Yeah, won't get into too much details,
Yeah,
but I think
will
everyone
not,
knows. Yeah.
I think everybody realizes the things. So peace, definitely, and prosperity, and keeping your soul and your mind more, how to say, more clean, more more, not, I wanted to say the word uprose, but I think it should be like a lifted.
Ascendance, you mean?
Yes, not the sentence itself, but keeping your soul up. So like keep your soul lifted in terms of being open, being positive on things, and being calm, being prosperous, being willing to being able to take in new information, and as you say in the opening of your podcast, focus on the positive things, and even find some light in a usual life or more negative experiences.
Because there's always an upside things coming after the bottoms.
The downside.
There's always light after dark. There's always a day after night, and whatever we experience, we'll always witness the opportunities of pure good, or at least we need to seek these moments and try finding them, because it's never a good idea to always be in one side of things. Like we can't just live in negativity all the time, and we can't live in positivity all the time. So there's always pure balance.
That's true.
But the thing nowadays is that there are lots of negative moments happening, so there are much less positive moments happening. So what we're doing here is we're just trying to, perhaps through enlightenment and through these kinds of discussions, just basically identify something that could help us, well, basically smile and smile
That's
once
true.
again, basically. But yeah, well, I think on a side note, as we are approaching the good old hour of this conversation, we will be catching up in person. Definitely going to be continuing some conversations we had outside the episode, and we're actually going to do some cooking together, which is actually going to be nice. We're going to basically cook the same dish that I used to do before, but with a twist that Michael has prepared. So it's going to be a lentil soup, lentil pasta rather, or pasta lentichi, if you remember this recipe. But I think Michael has got a different approach to it, and I'm actually excited to see it. So yeah, definitely cooking is something that we're both passionate about.
That's true.
So hopefully things will go well. But on that note, I think it will be a good opportunity for us to conclude our conversation for the podcast. And Michael, I think pretty much I can say this on behalf of not just myself, but of everybody. Thank you for being here.
That's true, yeah.
And it truly is an incredible experience just to have you sitting right next to me, and we could just discuss these things and just letting you speak as well, just sharing wisdom with everyone once again. I think it is really, really valuable. So before we go, is there anything else that you would like to perhaps say to the people?
Yeah, I would say definitely that this feeling is amazing, and nothing beats sitting in the same room and like having actually a physical interaction, as in like understanding the how the person close to you perceives the things that you say. So it makes the process much easier than we used to record not during, but through meeting in Google Meet or whatever. Not
like previous episodes, you mean?
the
Yeah.
previous ones. Yeah. So when the discussion went on to be virtual.
Hmm.
So definitely in person it's much more natural and much more how to say, personal, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would definitely thank you for hosting me, not only for the third time on the podcast, but for the first time at your own house.
Yeah.
It's a great pleasure to be here. Great pleasure to see the city of Southampton. Great pleasure to having had this trip. Definitely refreshed me a lot from the everyday routine that I got into with my work and other things. Yeah, but everybody else, I think you guys are. I hope you guys are doing as positive as Nick does, and as we all do, at least during these shows. So I would advise you, if you don't run your own podcast or you don't run your own mean of expressing yourself, just speak more to people, to your close ones. Spend time with your close ones in person specifically, not only phone calls, but if you have a possibility, just meet up your relatives, family, friends, everybody. And just have some time with them. Even you don't have to overcomplicate it with speaking on some complex topics. Just keep it very simple. Discuss regular things, share emotions, share feelings, thoughts, and you'll be all set. This definitely brings you up and then inspires you to do more things. So keep it up. Keep your minds clear. Keep your hearts open to better feelings. Keep your souls in peace. And prayers up that every new day will be better than the previous one.
I don't really know what else to add other than thank you everyone for listening once again. And this has been Nicholas Malson as well as my amazing friend Michael. And we both wish you a fantastic rest of the week as well as the good beginning of the next one. And I hope to speak to you again in the next potentially special episode of Smile Once Again podcast. Take care and goodbye.
Goodbye.